So why do lots of people out there make such a fuss about content? What even is it? All right, let's just quickly say what it is. Content is anything that you publish on the internet. Articles, videos, white papers, things you share on social platforms, comments on other people's posts on social platforms. It's all content and it all has an amazing power. But let's really think about this. Why is this power so key today? Well, look, it all comes down to this number, 80%. So big companies, Forrester Research, even dear old Google themselves, they've all done research. And what they wanted to know was how much of the buying journey, how much of the decision is made by people before they get in touch with you, the business, i.e. they might come up to you at a trade show, they might give you a phone call, they might drop you a message on your website. How much of that buying journey is done? The answer these days is on average 80%. Now you might say to me, well, Nick, in our industry, in our sector, it's different. And the answer is, I'm sure you're right, it's either more or less. In some sectors now, it's obviously 100%. So the old days of people talking to a car salesman, in many cases are gone. We go online, we go onto Cinch or Kazoo, and we buy a car. So it's gone to 100. Now, your industry may be more, maybe less, but it's getting bigger and it's somewhere around 80%, I'd guess. So what does it mean? Well, where are they? In that 80% of that time, before they've really finally made a decision, or maybe when they've already made a decision, they just want to call up to kind of get the numbers and sort it out. What are they doing? Well, they're looking at content. They're looking at content. That is the research stage. What does that mean? Well, it means your content is your 24/7 salesperson before they meet your actual salesperson. But of course, if your content isn't right, if you're not in the game, in the research stage, then they'll never meet your salesperson and you'll never meet them. So that's why we're kind of obsessive about content. That's why we got so excited when we read They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan, which is just a really great content framework at heart. It is the most powerful way you can do it. Another great thing to know about content is how Google and content work together. If you get your content right, Google shows it to some people just to test it out, because Google wants to know what people think of it. I mean, Google's got a pretty good idea, don't get me wrong. And Google does have people actually reviewing your site today. There are humans looking at your website. Google shows your content to a selection of people, the most obvious people. If they like it, Google will show some more people. If they like it, it'll show some more people and some more. You see how this ramps up. So by making your content great, you will encourage Google to show it to more people. And once people respond to your content, because it's great, Google will say, people love that, show some more, and it blows up. So that's the power of great content. So what is great content? That's the key to this, right? We need to know what great looks like. Well, They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan is the #1 framework for writing your content today. There's no question about that. Full disclosure, we loved it so much, we trained to be certified coaches of the program. You can read the book, you can do it yourself. It's okay. You don't need us. Just bear in mind what it all comes down to is really being obsessive about what people are actually asking about. Don't be an ostrich, put your head in the sand and hope no one ever asks you about that competitor that's actually pretty good for some people. Why not address it in your content up front? Get the elephant, introduce the elephant, bring him in, say this is the elephant. Would you like to meet him? For some people, that company over there is great. For others, we're great. Here's the honest, unvarnished truth. We talk a lot about costs. People want to know, what are the factors? I know you can't tell them the precise cost, but what are the kind of things that kind of add up to make the cost what it is? Why not share them? Share some comparisons. Share some reviews of competitors. Where do you fit in the scheme of things? It's all great stuff. So those are the kind of elements that make up great content. Here's a final reason why we get excited about content, because it turns you into a mind reader. It turns you into a mind reader. How does it do it? Well, most websites can offer you the chance, if you've got HubSpot on your site, if you've got a plugin that we will supply, they will tell you every time someone fills in a contact form, it'll come with a little list and it'll show you all the pages they read and how long they read them for. This is useful. So when someone comes in and you see that they've spent a lot of time researching subjects X, Y, and Z, then you know that that's what they're worried about. You also know that they've read a good deal about it, so they're nicely informed because they've read your content. You can then talk to them and say, you can talk to them around the subjects that they've read about. You can build on that. You can ask them if they've got any worries, concerns left. Despite having read all that, you kind of already know where their heads are. It's fantastic, fantastic way to start your sales interaction. Here's another great final benefit of using content really, really well, because it humanises you before you meet someone. And what do I mean by that? I mean, by the time you meet me, if you meet me, you'll kind of know me because you've seen a bunch of videos I've made. You've already decided if you like me or not. So only the people, thank God, that have decided they could imagine chatting with me actually come through on our contact form. People who think I'm a you-know-what, they'll never turn up, and that's great, right? So content is a really good way to humanise you before people meet you. And it is uncanny. So I may jump onto a call with someone who's filled in a form and they'll say, "Hi, Nick," big smile. And I'll be like, "Oh, do I know?" And then it would dawn on me. Of course I've never met them. They've just seen my videos. They've read my blogs. They kind of know what I'm about. They know my hobbies, that, I'm really into CrossFit. Like, I own a greyhound. I've got some kids. This is what I do, what I don't worry about, and all that. They've probably seen it on LinkedIn as well. So content has the power to humanise you before the interaction. And I assure you, for your salespeople, or for you, if you're a solopreneur selling, it's a mental health game changer.